Good morning, rise and freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. Boy, have I got a treat for you today, you lucky, lucky dogs. Speaking of dogs, Camellia Peterson in the house.
Good morning.
Doge, maybe. Make sure you talk nice and sweet and not quiet like, but nice and strong into that microphone, Camellia. It's lovely to see you.
It's great to be here.
To what do we owe the pleasure?
Oh, well, we're gearing up for session, so, I'm here, rubbing elbows and networking.
Kissing hands and shaking babies.
Something like that.
Good. Well, I'm glad you're here. We certainly have a lot to talk about. We've done it. We have officially memed the Department of Government Efficiency into existence. Donald Trump has announced Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy will head the outside agency of anti-government enforcement agents. I'm loving it.
Is there year has been a wild ride. I mean, just
ups and downs.
It's crazy.
Ups and downs and downs and ups. It's been a hell of a year, and it just seems like everything's working out. Now, some people, well, here's the thing. Now there's some people, especially on our side, who they will never be happy. Like, you can just tell that for them, it's like, it's terrible. Every pick is awful. Like Marco Rubio, no. Pete Hegseth for Secretary of Defense, no. Right? Everything, no. It's like, okay, you know what? Are you sure you're on our side? Like, are you sure that we believe in the same things? Because, it's not quite Javier Milei, but speaking of Javier Milei, we're going to speak to Tony Martinez at 8:30 today. But it's as close as you can kind of get in the United States when you got a bunch of statist mother truckers out there who really, some people just they can't let go of government entirely just yet. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's like there are some people who will never be happy, and we've got to get people out of this mold of just constantly having to have something to be angry about.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. That's what it is. A lot of it is that they just want to be angry. But how can you be unhappy? How can you be sad in a world where CNN will axe top stars in layoffs that'll see hundreds fired as ratings continue to tank? Wah! Evil laugh. That's not all, Camellia.
As Elon would say, we are the media now.
Yes, we are. That's me and you, Camellia, and you, the listener. We're making it happen together. And then how can you be angry? How can you be sad? How can you be black-pilling, as they say? In a world where MSNBC might be sold.
Impeaching Elon Musk.
Yes.
Would you like to have a monopoly?
Exactly. It would be just only one other media agency, mainstream media agency, that would not be in the pocket of the leftists, of the left liberals. So I mean, you have Fox News, but a lot of conservatives, they're still mad at Fox News. Here's what Jack Posobiec had to say about this topic. Take a listen.
Right now and say, no, that's not why I'm down here in Palm Beach. The reason I'm here, Steve, is that I'm putting together a team of investors, and we're taking a look at a certain property that's going to be coming up pretty soon. We're looking at purchasing MSNBC because I'm telling you, that thing is going up in a fire sale, 50% down in ratings. Joyanne Reed down 60%. So the way I look at it is, hey, this is prime position. Jack Posobiec, CEO of MSNBC 2025. We're going to call it MSNBC 2025, and I'm going to be the main primetime host. What do you think? By the way, we're going to keep Joe and Mika. We're going to keep Joe and Mika.
Yes. And you're black-pilling?
He's really serious, right? Is he really
I think so, yeah. Well, I saw the ratings for MSNBC. They were down 40% after the election. It was just boom. Because people are just I think people in because it's kind of the normies that are kind of sticking around. I'm seeing boomers now who are I watch YouTube. I don't watch the cable news and stuff like that anymore. And stuff like that. So it's kind of the final group of people who are still watching that crap are kind of probably in the last week are I don't have to watch this shit. I don't have to.
Right.
There's more than enough entertainment and content of things that I want to hear that isn't complete and total mind control BS. I don't have to watch MSNBC or these other institutions. You know what I mean?
And there are a lot of people, older people, who are moving to X now too. And it's kind of funny. The other day, Felicity had an assignment, and I think maybe for history class or government. Anyway, she said her teacher said they had to find some sources that were like reliable media sources. So like anymore, I was like, so what does that mean, right? You know, so if what's a legitimate source? Because I told Felicity, I was like, pretty much everybody gets their news on X anymore.
Yeah.
Like it just,
It's the number one app
Right.
for news online. We've got so much to discuss today. Judge Napolitano, of course, will be here for Big Brain Time. Our former colleague, Pete Hegseth from Fox News, will be tapped to be the Secretary of Defense. And the judge worked with him for a lot longer than I did, but he's an Army veteran. He is he's not like a neocon, as some people are kind of trying to label him. He's become a big-time skeptic of interventionist foreign policy. He did serve in the military, and he's got a lot of high-level national security experience, but he's an outsider, which is kind of what we need.
It is funny because what you see from the left all over on Twitter right now is he's hiring a Fox News host,
Yeah.
a TV host. Like, is he qualified? And somebody was like, "Well, Pete Buttigieg liked trains, that's why he got hired."
Yes. Now, he's never held a senior government post. He's 44. He's a National Guard veteran from Minnesota. He once led an advocacy group that sought to privatize health care provided by the Department of Veterans Affairs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was a CEO of Concerned Veterans of America for a long time. So that's.
He was an infantry captain in the Army National Guard. I saw our buddy Kurt Schlichter was excited about that, his former Army buddy, serving at Guantanamo Bay and later Iraq. In 2012, he returned to active duty, serving in Afghanistan with the Minnesota National Guard. He's apparently, he sounds like a pretty good guy. I mean, he was Ivy League, and then he decided to tell the Ivy League to kick rocks, and he went and he joined the military. He served our country.
I don't think anybody can say that he's uneducated
No.
or that he doesn't have the experience. It sounds to me like he's pretty well-rounded.
See, the challenge of the Secretary of Defense is like top 3 most challenging positions in terms of like appointed positions. It's the largest budget of any of the institutions of government. Like, this isn't some kind of like joke here. This is $850 billion, 3 million civilian workers and military service members. Many of them are deployed around the world. He has never held a senior government post, but this idea of bringing in people from outside is what Donald Trump is going for. And I think that's instinctually, I think that's the right move.
I think that's a good thing because, first of all, like, how old is he? He's only like
44, a year older than me.
Right. So, I mean, if you look at the litany of things that he has accomplished by this point in his life, I mean, that's impressive by itself. So, you know that he's managing things well. And so, he certainly seems to be capable. And I don't think you have to show your capability in a previous government post.
Yeah, no, I agree. But the Wall Street Journal is reporting this morning that Donald Trump has picked Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy for the government efficiency effort. Yeah. This is what we're really excited about.
Right.
This is what we're really excited about. This is the fun part, right? President-elect Donald Trump picked Tesla CEO Elon Musk and biotech company founder Vivek Ramaswamy to lead an effort to cut spending, eliminate regulations, and restructure federal agencies. Camellia? Audience ready.
I was like, it's amazing, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it was kind of like the joke all through the campaign, sort
Yes.
of like joke, sort of cautiously optimistic, maybe.
Yes.
And now it's reality. So I'm really hoping that their recommendations actually get taken and acted on. And so, but the fact that you have somebody like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy in positions of influence, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, and I just want to say that Elon, Vivek, call me booby babies. These Department of Government Efficiency, like kind of logo things. and they look really crappy. But if you guys go to forlibertyshop.com, then you can get the legit Department of Government agency logos. In Musk we trust. We have field agent tees. The fun thing about the Doge tees that I made is that on the back of the tee, I think some people don't even look, but on the back it looks like FBI, where they put FBI, you know, with like the typical FBI. It says Doge field agent. So get those. It's time. You can get hoodies because it's cold outside. We've got mugs. We've got water bottles. And you can get the incredible low poly Shiba Inu Doge logo merch at forlibertyshop.com. Right, guys? Yeah. And Elon, call me because somebody needs to hook you up with a little better graphic designer. Nelson65 donated a couple bucks, said she blushed. Well, thank you. Yes, she did blush.
Well,
We need that beautiful lady to lean in a little closer to the mic. Difficult to hear that angelic voice. I'm going to punch you up a little bit too, okay?
All right.
There we go.
I'm trying not to get my lipstick on the mic.
Yes.
Is that better?
Yes, it should be. It should be. I just punched you up, so you guys let us know if that sounds a little bit better. Does it? Okay. You can text the show too for things like that. Sometimes I don't always see the chat. The text line is 573-319-1586. You can see it underneath that name in bright lights, Austin Peterson. You can see the text line, 573-319-1586. Again, 573-319-1586. We've got a million rabbit holes to chase. We've got the Department of Government Efficiency. I think we'll leave the Pete Hegseth Secretary of Defense discussion to the judge.
Yep.
We'll let that at 8 a.m. Central Time. At 8:30 a.m. Central Time, we've got Tony Martinez. He'll be zooming in from New York. We're going to talk to him about Javier Milei. We're going to hopefully take a page out of the Javier Milei playbook, maybe a little afuera, right?
Let's hope.
Of all of the government officials that Donald Trump could meet with, I was the most excited for Javier Milei, and he was one of the first named to meet with Trump administration officials.
Yeah.
And you're blackpilling, and you're blackpilling, and you're like, and you're like, it's not gonna work. Oh, it's terrible, terrible pick, right? So people are pissed about Marco Rubio, but it's like I posted this yesterday on X. I'm gonna mute both of my microphones and tell you the name of the person who sent me the thing real quick. Hold on, so they can't hear it. Hold on, I'll tell you the secret, and here's the secrets. Oh, wait 1 second. So back to this conversation.
Well, that was rude.
Yeah, well,
Sorry, guys.
Try and protect people's privacy. But the thing is, if he'd said it publicly, I would have been, talking about it. But
this is someone that I think that we will see some big things of in the future.
Yeah, high, very, very high person. And it was my discussion about like understanding why Trump is making certain picks. Marco Rubio, for example, Ron DeSantis now gets to pick who the next senator might be. You have to understand that, now Marco Rubio is not writing neocon laws, right? He is in charge of foreign policy, which is a problem. But our mutual friend Alejandro, from Argentina, he thought the Marco Rubio pick was good, even though he's not a neocon, he's libertarian like us,
right? And
he was very trepidatious about supporting Donald Trump, but because he knows it'll mean better relationships with Latin America. And specifically Javier Milei because of the Marco Rubio connection to Latin America. So the expectation is that we might actually see stronger and better relations with Argentina because of Javier Milei and because of Marco Rubio. And you're blackpilling? So, anyways, we've got the Javier Milei stuff, and we'll talk about that with Tony Martinez. We've got the judge to talk about Pete Hegseth. We're going to talk about the death of the mainstream media, and I know exactly. I'll talk the death of mainstream media, and we're going to talk about the Department of Government Efficiency. So strap in, guys. It's time for us to have some fun. Have we already been having fun? Okay.
Of course.
Yes, we have.
Always.
My brother Justin decided to bless me with something.
Can you bless me with something?
Oh, gosh.
Money-wise. Please.
Can you suck it?
No, that's a crime in all 50 states. Peters JJ says, I'm excited for Musk's declaration. He will make government spending completely transparent. Musk just open source the government. Oh,
yes. Like that would be amazing.
Yes, that will be amazing. And let's just go through the Wall Street Journal piece here and get the facts. Let's get the facts straight, and then we will distort them as we please.
Exactly.
Trump said in a statement that Ramaswamy and Musk, the wealthiest person in the world who oversees 6 companies, would lead what the president-elect called the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. The group's mandate is to streamline government bureaucracy. DOGE will operate outside of the federal government. Sweet, thank you, beautiful. And will work with the White House Office of Management and Budget. Remember where Vance Ginn worked last time? I hope they hire him again, by the way, to implement its recommendations. Musk isn't expected to become an official government employee. We knew that, meaning he wouldn't have to divest from his business empire. Good. We need him on X. We need him running X.
So yeah, so that makes a lot of sense for the people who are griping that it's not an official government agency. We need it to not be, because
you don't
Elon
want it'll
Musk
turn
cannot
into
be
something
a government
evil.
employee, right?
You don't want to like lose an election and then have it be in the hands of the left.
Right.
This is actually why Fox News exists as a private corporation rather than a government agency, because Fox News was brainchilded in the 1970s by Roger Ailes and Richard Nixon when they initially created the concept of Fox News. It was how to get Republicans on TV because they were getting getting schwalloped by John F. Kennedy and his brother and the Democrats because they were so much more handsome than Nixon. So Roger Ailes, my old boss, wrote a memo to say that we need to get Republicans on TV, and he did a bunch of research and helped Nixon improve to come around better next time. And of course, he did win the presidency later. But they were going to start a television group in the White House as a way to counter the mainstream media's leftist bias at the time. Imagine, like, at the time being one of the first people to be like, hey, the media is biased against Republicans and conservatives. This was happening in the 70s.
Right.
But they decided, no, this is a bad idea. Let's launch this organization because we don't want the Democrats to win the election, and then they control the news agency. The Republicans decided, and then through Rudy Giuliani in New York as a prosecutor suing to let Fox News onto Time Warner Cable. The reason I know all this story, this whole like background of this entire story, is because I copied Roger Ailes' memo in the 1970s to get my job at Fox News.
Oh, okay.
So in order for me to get my job, I said how to get libertarians on TV. It was instead of how to get Republicans on TV, and it was to take Judge Napolitano, who'll be on the show later, to get his show on the network. And the network accepted my memo, and they were like, cheeky little boy. Cheeky. They saw it for what it was, like a kind of a love letter. Roger Ailes is, same grit,
So what I took away from this, given how you said that this started back in the 70s, is that men can have pretty privilege too.
Oh, yes. I used to trade on my looks. When I was a young, handsome man. I did a little underwater and underwear modeling as well. So there's some photos out there I'm not proud of. Well, actually, I'm kind of proud of them because I look really damn good. I used to be sexy. That's okay. Steffi still thinks that. Department of Government Efficiency. Oh yeah. So all this conversation leads me to the next question. The next topic we're going to be talking about: CNN, MSNBC. It's going to be. It's got to be a bloodbath over there. Brian Stelter, the chubby potato guy that they have over there. Who am I calling chubby? But Brian Stelter, they just rehired him. They had fired him, and then they rehired him again recently. And now apparently there's a chance he might get fired again. Whoopsie.
That's harsh.
Couldn't have happened a better guy. Elon is all like, we're not going to fire all these government people. We're going to give them 2 years severance. We're not trying to like destroy their lives and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just kind of like, what do you mean? It's kind of like, torturing your Nazi. It's like that situation in World War II where after like the women who like slept with the Nazis, how they shaved all their heads. Like, it's cruel, yeah, but like, you could kind of understand, right?
When he said that, I was like, that's a really good idea, right? Because it cuts out some of the chief source of like griping and complaining and, tugging at your heartstrings. How dare you cut jobs, these people's livelihoods, what are they supposed to do, right? I mean, I thought that's pretty smart.
Yes. Liberty Tonight Show in the chat. What's up, boys? Says, my sister did stock photos in high school and ended up on Facebook ads for a sperm bank.
Okay. I have questions that I'm not going to ask.
Yes. Stephanie's excited over in the chat. I can monitor everything because I'm on my phone, but apparently we had a Doge merchandise sale this morning.
Nice.
You, citizen, are you ready to become a field agent for the Department of Government Efficiency? Get your field agency merchandise at forlibertyshop.com. Join the Department of Government Efficiency. Get your official Doge hoodie available at forlibertyshop.com. That's forlibertyshop.com. Love it. I'm gonna make all the propaganda for the non-government government agency.
All the propaganda.
Yeah, I'm gonna meme about Elon is he can't stop me from enjoying the tears of the leftists who don't care about the money for leaving. They would take less money as long as they got to manage somebody's lives. Yeah, you got to understand, it's not about the money for a lot of these government agency employees. It's about being able to punish their enemies. It's about the control, right? These people would be the head of their local DMV, and they would use the information that they have to like run up our credit cards and do this shit like that. Like they get off on punishing the rest of us. They don't know what they would do. The only problem is that now it's going to be good that they're no longer trying to control us through the government, but they're going to find and seek other ways. These sociopaths will find other ways to make our lives miserable, but they just hopefully aren't going to have the nightstick now anymore,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have anything to expand on that one?
No, I just think that there are some people who are never happy unless they're asserting their own opinions on everybody else and their version of morality. And they will always be among us, and we just need to keep them out of power.
I love this piece over in the Wall Street Journal you were reading to me this morning. After the shock of the 2016 election, the people in the nation's newsrooms, whose job it was to tell us, the rest of us, what's happening in America, discovered they knew as much about their country as they did about North Korea. Their bosses made a vow. They needed to report on the nation better. Who was doing that before? The Amazon, Jeff Bezos?
Yes.
He was saying it before the election, right? In particular, they needed to do a better job of understanding the minds of the voters who had elected Donald Trump, somehow defying the 91% probability the media had decreed that their heroine Hillary Clinton would win. You remember that? God, that was so stupid.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
After the election, Dean Baquet, then executive editor of the New York Times, told NPR it was a top priority. I think we can do much, much better. And I think there are things that we can be more creative about to understand the country. This kind of echoes like AOC being like, girl, why did you vote for me and Donald Trump? I don't understand, I don't know if they really want to understand, though. Maybe AOC does, but the New York Times, NPR, they don't give a shit.
Right. Is the same trend that Hollywood is going, who watches, I don't even know is in the movie theater anymore. They've not been putting out anything good.
Yeah.
It's just everything, they're trying to, it's almost like they're the ones trying to adapt to this new, digital age and, with traditional media going out. And they're failing, right?
Yeah.
And because they have such an agenda all the time, it gets in the way of true creativity.
Yes, no, it totally does, and I see it. It's because I'm so bored with Hollywood. I'm so bored that I've been
nothing new out of it.
No, nothing new. I've got a lot of stories in me, Camellia. I want to make some movies. I've been spending the last 6 weeks just intensively doing trainings in camera and photography work and lighting and storytelling and reading some of my favorite cinematographers and things like that. And I'm really excited because, now I've got the final phase of funding to produce the battle scene for the Battle of Athens documentary, which I'm friggin' thrilled. I'm so excited.
It's awesome.
But that's what it's about. It's about stories. That's what it is. It's about storytelling. They're not really, here's the thing. When it comes to their craft, when it comes to the technical skill that they display in Hollywood, completely unmatched. It's unbelievable. But now the technology exists for people like me to be able to do a lot of those things, even in the comfort of my own home. And so if the technical craft itself can be replicated in a micro fashion, then what really is important, right? The fact that you've got a big flat silver screen to put things up on, there's a whole union structure that sustains that industry, which is collapsing like a house of cards because it's anybody can put up a big silver screen and project something onto it if they want to tell the story. So what will really matter at this point, it's kind of like how AI is revolutionizing certain things. what really matters is the best storytellers. Who can tell the best story?
Well, and the stories that they have told always very overtly carry an agenda, and the timeless stories are that there's always a lesson to be learned. Like there's always a way that you can apply it to your own life. Like it's relatable, but it doesn't like cram it down your throat. It focuses on the story, being a good story. And they've lost that balance completely.
Yeah, no, they have. Good morning. I'm Austin Peterson. I'm glad to have you joining us here on the Wake Up America show. That's my show right there, and I am Austin Peterson. You can see the text line underneath the chat. I'm joined live and in studio by my good friend Camelia Peterson, who's here with us. The chat is saying that my Eagle for Liberty Network logo matches up perfectly with your mug. So it's like it looks like it's sitting right there on your mug. That's Camelia Peterson. We're good friends. She's in studio today because we got lucky. And don't forget to make sure you click that like button on the feed. And if you're not following the channel, make sure you click follow so that you can come back and find us, because this show is 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. It's a 2-hour live stream, and we have an absolute blast. We drink delicious Founding Flavors coffee together, which you can see sitting out in those beautiful boxes right there on the screen. You can get those beautiful boxes full of delicious coffee at forlibertyshop.com. That's the number 4libertyshop.com. All right.
So when you were talking about them, when you're reading this article where he says, that he thinks we can do better, right? Like my favorite paragraph in this is the next one where he says, so the author says, like 19th century anthropologists venturing into the undiscovered interior of Africa, passels of metrosexual journalists sallied forth into flyover country, like Missouri, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And they sat down warily, we can assume, in diners and bowling alleys with people who had never, ever been to Harvard or even eaten avocado toast. Imagine that. I like avocado toast.
I do too, actually, yes. Quantum Kitty says stories like Where the Red Fern Grows, Old Yeller, stuff like that. Exactly. Just good stories. But in that article that you're reading from the Wall Street Journal, they're talking about the how out of touch the mainstream media is with people like us, normal
Been in their
people.
ivory tower.
Oh my God. I lived on the East Coast for 11 years, Camelia, and it's shocking how condescending and arrogant and elitist they are, and how much they despise all of us. They look down on us, and after a while it starts to seep into you, like the evil. There's something about the regionality. Did you know that the top wealthiest counties in the United States, it's something like 6 out of the 7 wealthiest counties in the United States are where?
I don't know.
They're the counties surrounding Washington, D.C.
Oh, well, okay, that makes sense.
That's where all our money's going.
Yeah.
That's where all our money is going, right? So why wouldn't they be arrogant, condescending? Like we serve them. They're like pharaohs.
Yeah.
Like everything that we have goes to them. Trillions and trillions of dollars every year going to these people to a large extent, if not our enemies overseas, so they can use it against it. Our weapons against us.
Do you remember during COVID, the articles that came out where people who lived on the coast and the journalists over there, they were like just shocked when in the middle of the country, like schools were opening back up and like people were doing things, and they just they could not wrap their heads around that. It just was,
Yeah, it was, yes, when we were reopening schools, they're calling us grandmother killers. I mean, they were calling us every evil name in the book, Camelia. It was like we lived on different planets.
Yeah.
I actually, and thanks to Angelo, he came up with this, and I perfected it over at forlibertyshop.com. We created this merch based around this concept, Divided States t-shirt, and it shows the United States, how it's broken up. And the top is in red, United States of America, and then the blue bottom is Dumb Schmuckistan. The original, it just came out yesterday. Okay. The original one, and that price is too low, by the way, guys. So if anybody on my team sees that, then that price needs to go up, way up. So if you want that shirt at that price that you're seeing right now, guys, you better go buy that immediately, because by the time this show's over, I'm raising that price because somebody did not put the right price on that shirt. So
not making any profit on that one, huh?
Yeah, not what I want to make. Okay. Yes, please do visit forlibertyshop.com. Looks like Andy Opperman and Doug Hill did this morning. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. Got your Department of Government Efficiency mouse pad on the way.
It's awesome.
Cool. So in terms of like the media, like one of the big reasons why the media is failing is because when they don't actually have any connection to us, they can't produce content that actually like is in touch with what people are doing, because they're in bubbles to some extent, right? And like, I won't lie, living on the East Coast for 11 years, getting an education, it has made me a little different than a regular Missourian, if you will, right? I can't change that. I can't like put on the boots and like, and the corn straw hat and like pretend that I'm something that I'm not.
Okay, but was it Twain that said the travel is fatal to prejudice? Yeah. Okay, so, but I think that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? I mean, I don't think we ever need to look down on anybody from a different background or, even culture within the United States. But I do think exposure to all of those different, like even within Missouri, there are such cultural differences between Eastern Missouri and Southwest Missouri, Northern Missouri. And like, I love all of them. There are different things about each of them that I like. And I think that, going around and living in different parts of the state as much as I have has made me a better person. It's made me better able to, relate to different people's experiences and better able to do the work that I do too.
Yes, but there's something a little bit different about you and I than like the average Missourian, right? And so, but the difference is that people like us is that we live amongst the people. We live in like real America, right? Not dumb schmuckistan. So for us, we actually like, I can report on this show about the needs and concerns of actual regular normal people because we live amongst the regular normal people. You know what I mean?
Sounding so elitist.
It is elitist. It is elitist. The thing is that we have to be honest about what these terms mean, like elite and like non-elite populist and things like that. And I mean, like most Missourians, I would say, and here's the thing, let's consider not this city perhaps because it's the capital city, so there's going to be a little bit higher of that elitist proportion. But let's say this county, right? Like, 9 out of 10 people in this county are not getting up in the morning and going to a high-fledged production studio, pushing a bunch of buttons digitally, doing that kind of stuff, right? They're going out and they're getting the tractor and they're plowing the fields and they're laying the sod and they're doing all those kinds of things, right? It's a boutique, right? It's just a specialized industry of what it is I do. But like, you need 9 farmers for every one podcaster, right? And to support it, you got to have. It would
be terrible if it was the other way around.
Oh my God, yes, please. No, trust me, as a podcaster. But you do need the media.
Yeah.
You do need the media, right? You do need people who are storytellers. You do need people who 100%. Can keep ideas alive, who can inform people of what's going on. And it doesn't need to consume your life. And it does, even me, I like to try and step away from it as much as possible, but it is a part of us, but it needs to not be alien of us. And the mainstream media is alien of us,
Right. And this is something that's as old as time. I mean, we've had bards, we've had traveling, people who do entertainment, even before we had, media itself. And so that's almost like a basic human, I don't know if it's on Maslow's hierarchy or not, but of needs, but it is kind of a basic human need in a lot of ways.
Yep. It's nice to see all of our friends joining us, like Luke Sacker, Barney Stiles, A.L. Wild, Quest Fanning, Steffi for Liberty, and Frank and Beans. Nice to see you. Joni Rankin, Blue Trike, and Cecilia H. Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, I got to see Joni recently. That was so
much fun. You're so lucky. You guys got to hang out together. You got to hang out with the one and only Joni. I want to hang out with Cecilia at some point. Yes. She's really cool.
Yes.
And we got to do like another get together or something like that. Yep. Barney Stiles, you got to meet Nelson this morning who helped me set up today.
Yes. I always love it when I get to meet people in person and hang out.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And I know a lot of people are excited to meet little baby Hazel. So we were doing meetups. I have a feeling that if we did a meetup now, it would be bigger than last time.
I hope so.
I think it would
because cool.
Last time, because when we did our first little group Team Liberty hangout, it was like 7 or 8 of us like hardcores. Remember down by the river when we went camping?
Yep.
And I think that's where Stephanie and I kind of fell in love that weekend when we went to the cave. And then the next one that we did was another canoe trip, and we got to meet Matt Unruh and his wife Robin, and Quest was there with his Fanning and Franny, and we had a good time. And I think if we do another, we didn't do it this year because of the baby, but I think next year we need to do another like For Liberty hangout.
Yes, I agree.
Maybe we'll do like a school trip to like Washington, D.C. or something like that. And we can go like, my Washington, D.C. tours that I lead. Oh yeah, it's good shit. It's good.
Well, Felicity and I are going to go just briefly in mid-December. So that's fun. I'm looking forward
okay,
to
good. Yeah. All right, great. And I know all the best places to eat.
You definitely have to tell you about those.
Yes.
I'm all about the food when I travel.
Yes, of course. And how to get drunk for cheap. Yeah. Because it's expensive. I'm drinking out there in DC. If you're tuning into the Wake Up America show now live for the very first time, I hope that we'll earn your follow today and you'll come back and join us again tomorrow morning. We are a motley crew of miscreants, and we do have a blast, and we are not arrogant, says Quest Fanning. Thank you very much, but you wouldn't understand, JK. Troubadours. That's a good word for us.
Troubadours.
Yes, troubadours. Jennifer Halbine with us today. Hey, Austin. Nice to see you. Clementine was sad he missed the float in 2023. That was fun. Yeah. Yes, we will do like a DC tour or something like that with all of our friends, and I'll do like a karate class. It'll be like that's right.
He's like a tough sensei, people.
Yes, he is. Orders are flying in, and Doge merchandise is flying off the shelves. We just sold an official Doge field agent hoodie.
I'm going to have to look at this. I haven't
They're awesome.
seen all the Doge stuff yet.
You haven't seen all the Doge stuff?
No.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And I'm just kind of like, that laws of power that Robert Greene talks about, never outshine the king. I'm kind of like trying not to. I'm trying not to outshine Elon Musk.
Oh my gosh.
But
listen to you. I'm going not to outshine Elon Musk.
But they should hire me for their merch because.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, because my Doge logo is fantastic, and you can get it on mugs, t-shirts, hats. We've also got it on mouse pads, which Andy got one today, which is it looks beautiful on the mouse pad.
Look, hey, you started making Javier Milei merchandise, and he started retweeting it.
That's true.
And so, like, anything is possible here.
It's true.
Like, and not just retweeting it like once. Like, he was doing it considerably there for a while.
Did you see me retweet that guy yesterday who said that he can't wait until he sees my podcast fail?
No.
Okay, it was so funny. Because I did the, again, if I'm going to keep bragging, I did a little research yesterday, and I found out we are actually in the top 5% of all podcasts.
I'm not surprised, and that's awesome.
Yeah. But it's like once you get like to the top 5%, every percentage is like $50 million, $150 million, and all that kind of stuff, till you get to like Joe Rogan, who's the 1%. But my goal is to try and get to 4% of podcasts, which is going to take a huge effort and, successful documentaries and all kinds of things going in to make this big. But right now we are one of the most successful podcasts in the world because of not because of the numbers of people who watch, but because of how I monetize the show so effectively and build a community around it.
Well, when I look at the efforts of people like you and Hannah Cox and some of our other friends who are in the liberty movement side of things, like there's like people, you guys are doing really well, and that's exciting.
Yeah, the For Liberty Network with Culturama and with the Liberty Tonight boys, because there's a strategy here, right? Is to grow the message of liberty and to sort of like take over the airwaves with more free market style content, right? And also to replace the fact that Reason's kind of doing a crappy job these days, and that a lot of the other libertarian podcasts and things like that are like creepy, go nuts, basement and hairy, dwelling hair.
Right.
Hairy.
The quality has to go up.
It's got to go up. Everything's got to go up. We're raising the standards around here, increasing what we can do, but. No, I'm really excited about the future, and it's like I need a break sometimes. Every once in a while, I have to like
Are you sure?
breathe. And so like last night, as I'm kind of like with the baby on there, and she's, we're both covered in vomit. I'm like falling asleep. And I hear Daniela's voice come on, and I'm just like, somebody take. It's like passing the baton a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm kind of like. And Daniela goes and runs with it, and then I'm getting all those notifications that she's getting rants, and she's doing fantastic.
That's so exciting.
Text
I love
messages.
her.
Oh, she's great. She's so smart and funny, and I think she's going to be a big star, and we're going to make her that way, right, guys? The For Liberty Network and the Liberty Tonight boys too.
Yeah, that's cool.
We're having an absolute blast. And you're next, Camellia, with your own podcast on the For Liberty Network, shall we?
Never say never.
Never say never. All right, we got to figure out a way to entice Camellia, but it should be kind of like a sexy politics show. It should be like you should wear like bikini American flags, right, and shoot machine guns.
That's probably not going to happen. Trite
You
is
should
that,
just
by the
you
way.
should just wear something
like
sexy and then read a book, if that's what you have to do.
So what's really funny is yesterday or the day before, I did tell somebody. So I learned that apparently it's not just PRN on OnlyFans. There are like other things too, like entertainers on there. I was like, okay, so I'm just going to create my OnlyFans account, and it'll be me fully clothed, just reading the Constitution in a sultry voice.
Yes.
Oh God, not laughing like
Not
that.
like that, exactly. No. Hey, we got to say huge thank you, to big shout out to one of our biggest supporters. That might be one of the biggest we've gotten. Bucks Nasty donated $100 to help us grow.
No way, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you. That's
amazing.
great.
We're gonna do it, man. We're gonna build what Thomas Jefferson called for, an empire of liberty.
There you go.
Let's do it. Trump gave Musk and Ramaswamy a deadline of July 4th, 2026, amid the nation's semi-quincentennial celebrations. Semi-quincentennial.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of that, like, how exciting
Yes.
is the whole, like, World Fair type thing?
Oh
that
my
he's
God,
got
it's
planned?
amazing.
I just, like, that's brilliant.
Yes. Okay. So like this is like anime, like cartoon and dreams come true kind of stuff. I used to play this game called Chrono Trigger as a kid, and one of the like main parts of this game is like this like huge celebration of the existence of like the community and things like this. And it's like all epic and beautiful and bright, and everybody's gathered together for like the celebration of civilization before things go horribly wrong. But I mean, in this scenario thing, this feels like it's not even real. Like it's so wonderful.
Yeah.
It's so like positive that it's kind of like, I just feel like this is going to be a massive moment in history that people are going to look back on in like that 250 years and be like, the American people decidedly chose a new direction to restore to their roots.
They chose hope and innovation and entrepreneurship. And those are the things that made America great. And that is what we need. Like we feel like we've been losing that, but Elon has been leading the way. Like he has been like the North Star that people look to when you talk about innovation and entrepreneurship and advancement. And it just is like, the world fairs that you read about and you see the old pictures of, and there were such competitions to create these big, great things. And like, that's what I want to see when we do that. I want to see states competing with each other to see who can have the biggest and best like display that represents their state. Like I'm really excited.
Me
about
too.
That.
It reminds me of the old stories about the 1904 World State Fair in St. Louis, right? It's the same kind of thing. So exciting. I'm so thrilled. I can't wait to talk to the judge here in about 12 to 15 minutes. He's going to be like, that's a great idea for me to poop on.
Well, we do need the realist to like drag us back down sometimes too. But
literally the second I said that, I saw Jennifer Halbine's comment where she says, and yet some dumb libertarians are arguing against it. Oh
man.
Very funny. Very funny. Let's see what we got. Oh, somebody said they came up with the idea for your podcast, the title for your podcast.
Okay.
It's a good one.
Okay,
I think it's good. It's I for Freedom.
Okay, that is funny.
You do have an eye for freedom.
Absolutely. Yeah. So was that actually somebody, or was that somebody named Austin?
Wasn't me.
Okay. Well, kudos to whoever in the chat did that because that is funny.
Yes, yeah, for sure. And like, here's Quest Fanning bringing us down to earth. He says, "Don't worry, plenty of Republican senators and reps will sell out to special interest donors. It's a cycle. Sure, there will be people who won't go along with us, but they will be destroyed and hung from their entrails."
Well, and the idea is like, if Elon and Vivek are doing what their mandate is with this, and we have more transparency, it makes that more difficult.
Let's get to what they said. Okay, so Trump gave Musk and Ramaswamy a deadline of July 4th, 2026 to complete their work. So there's a deadline.
Right.
A smaller government with more efficiency and less bureaucracy will be the perfect gift to America on the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. Donald Trump said, "I am confident they will succeed." Yeah, bro, he is like, Trump's just giving me what I want. I mean, not everything I want, but I mean, like, that is what I want. That is
way
what I
more
want.
than we've had in a long time.
I mean, we have not seen anything like that. No other Republican, I think, would have done this.
Right.
I really don't think.
One of the things I keep thinking about, Elon has his fingers in so many pies, right? It just is like, there's, I don't know how he's doing it, and I don't know how he adds all this. And he was talking about that his PAC is going to keep moving forward and playing in primaries, which is really where it's at, because that's like
Here it goes. Yeah. Musk has previously said he hopes to cut federal spending by at least $2 trillion, a goal that outside analysts said would be difficult to achieve. Why? Because they're going to fight him every step of the way, fuckers. In fiscal 2024, the government spent roughly $6.8 trillion, and you can't find $2 trillion. Okay, hold on. Musk, before I start editorializing, Musk's super PAC, America PAC, spent roughly $200 million in support of Trump during the presidential election. The billionaire has become one of the president-elect's closest advisors, according to people with knowledge on the matter, sitting in on transition meetings, offering input on personnel picks, and spending one-on-one time with Trump at his Mar-a-Lago club. The acronym DOGE echoes the name of Dogecoin, the cryptocurrency Musk has frequently promoted online. I need to go and see if my Dogecoin has been going up. Did you see Bitcoin went up over
oh my so
God.
I just do a little monthly automatic buy on Bitcoin, and I don't even look at it. I never look at it.
Did you look at it?
Well, I saw somebody say something. I was like, "Dad, come." So yeah, that's kind of nice.
That's what America's about, baby. It's about capitalism. It's about wealth. It's about, like, we need to be empowered to be able to become wealthy. And
except for those people who are like, nobody needs to be a trillionaire. Can you believe that Elon Musk is almost a trillionaire?
Yeah.
He should be settled for millions. He doesn't need to be a trillionaire.
The sad irony of that is that they will make us all trillionaires. And when everybody's a trillionaire, no one will be a trillionaire. You know what I mean?
And it is like that's it. Everything is on envy. Like, I want what you have.
Yes.
It's not just that I want more for myself. It's I want what you have.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what it is. It's envy. Envy, envy, envy. A lot of foreign aid can be cut. A lot of money sent to places like Ukraine and elsewhere around the world. Like, why are we sending money to Israel and Israel's enemies? Stuff like that. You tell me we can't cut $2 trillion out of the budget. How about stop arming the enemies, the people who hate us? Now, we're going to have to, some of this stuff is going to be a Faustian bargain to some extent, because everything is a trade-off. Yeah. So like, one of the problems, and I love to look at this episode in history, one of the problems that you have to face is that when you're paying the mullahs bribe money not to attack you, you still have to pay the money to defend yourself. And so at some point, when the pirates aren't getting paid, they are going to declare war on you. Right. So a lot of times the question is, and this is the one that the founding fathers had to deal with when it came to the the pirates of Penzance. No, with cat like tread. Sorry, Pirates of Penzance there. Who are the people that are attacking us in the Middle East? Stephen Decatur fought the Tripolitan pirates. They were the Mohammedans.
Yeah,
The Barbary Wars, for the love of God, the Barbary Wars.
You said like so many piratey things now that like everything else comes out of my
Ta-da.
mind. I was like, I just saw a plaque
Savvy.
somewhere for somebody who wrote a book about that the other day. So.
Yeah, you are no doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard, but you have heard of me. Yes. Ta-da. With cat-like tread upon a prey we steal, in silence dread our cautious way we steal. Luke Sacker and Mighty Megatron and Peter's JJ all here. Justin, my brother, giving me points for Gilbert and Sullivan. Thank you.
There you go.
He is the very model for a modern major general.
Yes.
Despite in matters
I love that song.
vegetable, animal, and mineral, I am the very model of a modern major general. Ta-da. Clementine says Musk just can't have any scandals. The press is champing at the bit to use the headline Elon gate.
What?
He's already got
what's going to come out that's hasn't
right.
already?
He's already got 25 children. You know what I mean? And 2 of them are trans or whatever, or at least one of them is. Yeah. Dad Bod Baboon says, I have $20 in my pocket. What does that translate to in pesos? Am I a millionaire in Mexico? You know, good point.
Right. That's right.
With cat like tread upon our tray we steal. All right, Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, more than just a Fox News host, much more.
More than just a pretty face.
It's
not just pretty privilege.
No, not for sure. We got a lot of pretty privilege here on our set, but we'll be back with even more. The beautiful Judge Andrew Napolitano. Don't go away. Go to forlibertyshop.com. Get your Doge merchandise, and we'll be right back on the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
Conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
imagine if I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors, what would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? So you can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
Is me, you, anyone that wants to be.
There is no typical firefighter.
Do you hate the deep state? Do you reject the Antichrist in all his ways? Do you believe that aliens controlled LBJ to assassinate John F. Kennedy? Did you know that the shot can put chemicals in you that will make you more sensitive to 5G? Do you love America? Do you want more freedom? Do you like smoking hot red-headed libertarians? Then the AP for Liberty shop is for you! Check out all the awesome new merch and have a happy new year! Fight the deep state! Reject the Antichrist! Visit AP for Liberty shop and get your patriotic merchandise now, or the deep state wins!
Good morning. Rise in freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. We're glad and thankful to have you here. Please click that like button. And if today is your first time watching the Wake Up America show, we'd love to have you come here and join us 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. Well, Donald Trump has been making some extremely important picks regarding foreign policy. And no, we're not going to talk about Marco Rubio. I know my next guest is not a fan, but the Secretary of Defense role, probably the most important job in government, overseeing a budget of north of $800 billion, might be filled by former Fox News colleague Pete Hegseth, joining us right now, former Fox News alum, where we worked together for 2 wonderful years, and the host of the Judging Freedom podcast, definitely in the top 5% of all podcasts in the world, maybe even the top 1%, certainly 1% in our hearts. Judge Andrew Napolitano joins us live this morning. Good morning, Judge. Nice to see you, sir.
Morning, Austin. Always a pleasure to be with you, no matter what we're talking about or who we're talking about.
Judge, I would think that when I read headlines like these, I would think that things like this would excite you when we talk about things like the Donald Trump looking to draft an executive order that would create a board to purge generals. It would fast track the removal of admirals. He wants to shake up the Department of Defense and fire some of these rogue intelligence and defense officials. Is that something that I don't know, that seems to you to be like the green shoots of a positive change?
It's hard for me to answer that. Just so your listeners understand, when you talk about firing a general, he doesn't lose his job or his rank or his perks or his pay. He just loses his assignment. People in the military are protected just like people in civil service. So when President Obama fired Stanley McChrystal, well before our time now, President Truman fired Douglas MacArthur, McChrystal was still a 3-star general. MacArthur was still a 5-star general. They still received their income, their perks, their status, but they just lost their command. When Madison wrote in the Constitution that the president was the commander-in-chief, from Madison's notes, we know that he meant the president commanded the troops in wartime. But in the post-World War II era, with a standing military, commander-in-chief has evolved into the president is the king of the military and can do whatever he wants, whether we're in wartime or not. Now, having said that, if Donald Trump believes that Admiral X or General Y is not sufficiently doing his job, he, of course, can remove the person from that job. Can he do it for political reasons? Well, yes, he can. It's not wise to do that, but of course he can. The reason it's not wise to do that is because there's 1.3 million people in the Defense Department, and the politics run deep there. It would be impossible for him to root out everybody there who disagrees with him politically. I think he'll find, and he should know this from his first term in office, that the military is generally very loyal to the president, irrespective of the domestic and foreign politics in which the president engages. There is, of course, this issue of an unlawful order. The first thing these folks are taught day one at West Point and at all the other schooling they have is that it is unlawful to obey an unlawful order. Now, Trump doesn't want to hear that. I don't know that any of that happened in his first term, but that is always a fear in the backs of people's minds. As for Hegseth, he is a wonderful, funny, likable guy, but probably is the least qualified nominee for Secretary of Defense in history. Now, the history doesn't go back that far. It goes back to 1947 when the Defense Department was created. This job requires strategic reasoning. It requires management skills. This is the largest organization in the world to manage. It requires the ability to listen and have empathy, and it requires the ability to articulate a policy. Where he is on those, he can certainly articulate policy, but he has no management experience. His strategic reasoning is whatever Netanyahu wants, give it to him. And his ability to listen is at the ADD level.
Dan Caldwell is a peer of Pete Hegseth. He works at the Defense Priorities Institute, and he says this: I have known Pete Hegseth for over a decade. Like a lot of GWOT vets, his foreign policy views evolved as the forever wars dragged on and their costs soared. He says if you're calling him a neocon, you have no clue what you are talking about. So it appears as if this man is saying that while some people are, I'm not saying you are, but some people are flinging the neocon epithet at Pete Hegseth, that Pete has become more of a skeptic of America's forever wars. That seems to be an optimistic sign.
And I reject everything that Dan just said. Pete said on Fox and Friends and in his book that Joe Biden should have bombed Tehran, the capital of Iran, that would have started World War II because the Russians would have come involved in order to destroy their nuclear capabilities so that Bibi Netanyahu can have a better night's sleep. I think we need to prepare nieces, nephews, children, grandchildren for the prospect of a draft and of World War II. The job of the defense secretary is, aside from those 4 points I made about the strategic vision and management skills and empathy and articulation, is to dial back the president's bellicose tendencies and remind him of the natural and probable consequences of the execution of those tendencies. If the Secretary of Defense or the Secretary of State enhance those tendencies, get ready for World War III. Whether you call him neocon, Zionist, whatever you want to call him, a guy that wants to bomb Tehran and give Netanyahu whatever he wants. What do we get out of that? World War III.
Hegseth, 44 years old, he's a National Guard veteran from Minnesota. He once led an advocacy group that sought to privatize health care provided by the Department of Veterans Affairs. Good, bad, indifferent?
Couldn't care less.
I'm confused.
I don't care what he once led. He's now going to lead the Department of Defense into World War III, which is condemnable.
Okay, so the Department of Veterans Affairs, the privatization of health care in our government, sounds pretty good, Judge, at least from a libertarian perspective.
Well,
you don't think it'll happen?
I once said to Trump, why don't you get rid of the Department of Veterans Affairs and just give the veterans a credit card that they can use to pay their health bills? He said, well, what about all those hospitals? I said, sell them. And he goes, oh, I could develop them into high rises. I said, yes, you can, Mr. President.
Yes, that sounds like a good idea. He says after Russia began its full... Go ahead.
90% of the government is not authorized by the federal government, is not authorized by the Constitution, bleeds us dry, and Vivek, Ramaswamy, and Elon Musk are not going to be able to lay a glove on it. It would take a Congress full of Thomas Masseys, whom they're about to remove from Congress under the pretext of becoming the Secretary of Agriculture. It would take a Congress full of Thomas Masseys to reduce the government down to its size, its constitutional size, as our friend Thomas Jefferson said, chained down by the Constitution.
After Russia began their full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, Pete Hegseth said that the feeling among conservatives was that the war paled in comparison to the crime I see in my streets, to the wokeness I see in my culture, to the inflation I see in my pocketbook, to the real border I care about, which is the southern border. Do you expect that the Trump administration could successfully bring an end to the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, Judge?
Yes, I think President Trump could say to Zelensky, and I hope he does, that's it. It's over, and you're out of office. We'll pick your replacement. That person will negotiate a truce. The truce will be for a permanently neutral Ukraine. Russia will acquire the provinces which have been historically and culturally Russian, and that's it. If Trump does that, I will be the first and the last to applaud him to the skies for it.
Well, that's good to hear. If you're just tuning in, I'm speaking to Judge Anna Napolitano. Certainly, we would do the same. On the Wake Up America show, I'm joined on set by Camelia Peterson. We are not related. We are just close friends. And please do click that like button and follow the channel. We'd love to have you become a regular guest of the Wake Up America show. What about this Ratcliffe character as the head of the CIA? So Donald Trump has tapped this Ratcliffe character. I don't admittedly know much about him, Judge. Do you?
Yes. He is a former federal prosecutor, a former congressman from Texas, the former director of national intelligence, which is the nominal nominal head of the CIA. I say nominal because it's toothless. CIA is an army. The director of national intelligence doesn't have an army. He's a Mike Pompeo type. The CIA will love him. So much for the Bobby Kennedy argument. Donald Trump is going to put the CIA out of business. Or, as I advised them, they should at least terminate the operations division. That's the crew that fights private wars and overthrows governments and engages in acts of terrorism in foreign countries. There's nothing wrong with the intelligence division. Actually, it's superb. It's not the best, but it's superb, and it should exist. We should be spying on our adversaries, but we should not be waging wars and conducting coups, but we will under John Ratliff.
It's interesting to hear you say that, Judge. We should be spying on our enemies because, I agree with you completely in regards to how we should reform our intelligence agencies and that they should be focused outwardly on spying. It wasn't, but I think it was immediately after the CIA and the NSA and the FBI were established that they immediately were used as political tools against American citizens. The FBI, when it came to Martin Luther King Jr., right, and against the Civil Rights Act, Richard Nixon, creating the war on drugs so that he could go after hippies and Black Panther outfits in order to go after. It's always these institutions have always been used against their domestic political opponents. But it appears as if with the Trump administration, there doesn't seem to be the same level of desire to punish their domestic enemies that there is from the left. So, for example, and what I mean by that for an example is that the left wanted to purge Elon Musk from his capability of launching rockets off the coast of Santa Barbara and divest him entirely from being able to work with the government to rescue astronauts to the International Space Station, right? They wanted to use the government, if they had it, to punish their political opponents. Whereas Donald Trump announces this outside agency headed by Musk and Ramaswamy to find $2 trillion in cuts, calling it, ironically, the Department of Government Efficiency. And also, Donald Trump refused to prosecute Hillary Clinton after the previous election, despite saying that he would lock her up. He didn't want to. The left did try and lock Donald Trump up, right? So there's this sort of interesting bifurcation between the left and right of what they say versus what they do. But do you expect that Donald Trump will follow through with the recommendations if Ramaswamy and Musk find $2 trillion of cuts in spending, or do you think that that's all fluff? That's all talk? Do you wish them well, but think they won't be able to accomplish it?
Of course I wish them well, but the Supreme Court has ruled that the president must spend what Congress authorizes. So the culprit here, the solution here is not just Donald Trump. First of all, this Department of Government Efficiency doesn't exist. Only Congress can create it. If Trump wants to give them an office and a desk in the West Wing, he can, but he can't give them money to spend. Secondly, they can make all the recommendations they want. The recommendations would have to be adopted by Congress. Thirdly, Trump loves debt and loves to spend money. If you take the Ukraine war out of it, Trump spent more in his 4 years in office than Biden did in his, even though dollars were worth a lot less in Biden's time than they were in Trump's time. Suppose this group recommends $250 billion cut out of the Defense Department. Do you think Trump will go along with it? Suppose they recommend closing 50% of the 850 military installations that the empire has built around the world. Do you think Trump will go along with that? In terms of his adversaries, there's actually a very interesting debate going on in the Trump transition now, as I understand it. And it's the reason why we don't have an attorney general nominee, because half of the team wants an attorney general who will prosecute and persecute everybody that made Trump's life miserable in the past 8 years, depending upon the statute of limitations, which for most federal crimes is 5 years. Half of the transition team wants Trump to be big-hearted, charitable, grateful, and unifying and just wish his enemies well and out of his face. And neither side has prevailed. That's why there isn't an AG nominee announced yet. Gee, which side do you think will prevail?
Hoping for the good side, but Camelia, you had a question.
Well, you raised an interesting point. We were talking earlier about how that Trump has given Vivek and Elon a deadline of, what was it, July
4th, 2026.
So since, I mean, like, the judge is right, Congress needs to be the one to enact these things, these recommendations that they make. And if we only have a majority Congress, say, for the first 2 years, that's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
If we don't maintain, control of the Senate and the House, because really anything that Trump is going to get done feasibly needs to be within the first 2 years.
Yeah, Judge, there's probably going to be a lot of Republicans who stand in the way of this, right?
Yes, Republicans have vested interests in all of these things, particularly if it involves the military industrial complex. I mean, they're as much, you and I have been ranting for 15 years, Austin, on the warfare party. There's no political limitations to the warfare party. It's 95% of the Republicans and 95% of the Democrats. Chuck Schumer still has the filibuster. And as close as the House is for Republicans over Democrats, Donald Trump is just taking 3 of their number away from them. I don't know what's going to happen because it takes 90 days for those seats to be replaced.
That was something I was thinking about when you kind of alluded to that when you talked about the possibility of Thomas Massie being tapped for something like Secretary of Agriculture or something, which we all hear that and think, oh, that's fantastic, because you want to see like those people elevated. But the question is where do we need them more? And it does feel like, if they're taking good people out of Congress, that hampers our abilities to actually get things done.
But that's also the kind of the upside of losing Rubio in the Senate, right, Judge, is that we get rid of that neocon vote in the Senate. And yes, he's Secretary of State, but I mean, Trump has a habit of firing people. So maybe he brings Rubio out of the Senate and then has him as Secretary of State and fires him, and then DeSantis appoints somebody else.
Senator Rubio, I don't know if he's going to be nominated. They leaked it, and it perhaps to see as a trial balloon. His replacement would be chosen by Governor DeSantis, so it probably would be someone of like mind. As we speak, or 12 months from now, the Republicans in the Senate will be voting for their leadership. Donald Trump has told them 2 things. One, I want Rick Scott, who is the least popular of the 3 candidates, John Thune, John Cornyn, and Rick Scott. And 2, I expect you to abdicate your constitutional role and go into adjournment so that I can appoint as recess appointments whoever I want to the executive branch. That would mean that Pete Hegseth, Marco Rubio, Elise Stefanik, whoever would be appointed without investigation, without hearings, and without a vote. Does the Constitution permit that? Yes, it does. Has the Supreme Court authorized it? As long as the adjournment is for more than 10 days. I don't know where they came up with the 10 days, but that's the rule. Yes, it has.
Judge Andrew Napolitano, he's the host of the Judging Freedom podcast, which is one of the most popular podcasts in the world with millions of listeners. Judge, please give us a sneak preview of what you got coming up on your show.
I thought the next Secretary of Defense, but that apparently is not going to be the case, Colonel Douglas Macgregor, Ambassador Charles Freeman, the firebrand Max Blumenthal, and the famous CIA agent who told George W. Bush Saddam Hussein does not have weapons of mass destruction, whereupon Bush threw him out of the Oval Office and told the nation that he did, Phil Giraldi.
Phil Giraldi. Judge, your weekly column at judgenap.com talks about many of these issues as well, correct?
Well, the column this week, it continues my efforts to follow the perversions of justice at Guantanamo Bay. And the root of those perversions is an order by George W. Bush in 2001 permitting torture. All of that is coming home to roost now. Khalid Sheikh, by the way, how many prosecutions have there been in the military tribunals in Guantanamo Bay for the events of 9/11? It's an easy number to remember. 0. None. In part because the prosecution team has changed twice, in part because Khalid Sheikh Mohammed is on his 4th judge. So when Lindsey Graham persuaded George W. Bush to use military tribunals, they forgot about the 5th Amendment. They forgot that unlike federal district court judges, military judges rotate out of their assignments every 4 years. So the current military judge is the one before whom a settlement was agreed to. Settlement was agreed to by the defendants, the defense lawyer, the prosecutors who initiated the settlement negotiations 2 years ago, and the general in the Pentagon supervising the prosecutions. After the general in the Pentagon, authorized the settlement, Secretary Austin negated it, saying, I want to see these people put on trial. Wait a minute, it's your own prosecutors who said they can't try the case. Well, why can't they try the case? Because they can't defend torture. They cannot ethically defend torture, and the judge won't allow them to introduce evidence based on torture. So that's problem number 1. Problem number 2, because this is the 4th judge, he has to read all the documents that were submitted to his 3 predecessors, all 40,000 pages. This is the mess that George W. Bush created. When the prosecutors who asked for the plea agreement now asked that it be thrown out because they were ordered to do so by Secretary Austin, the judge who was ordered to throw out the plea agreement basically said, don't tell me how to run my courtroom. So you have a colonel in the Army telling the Secretary of Defense, leave me alone.
You can read that column and more great works by Judge Andrew Napolitano at judgenap.com. And of course, come back and join him with us every Wednesday, 8 a.m. Central Time. That's big brain time with our good friend, Judge Napolitano. Thank you, Judge. And we'll look forward to seeing you again next week.
My pleasure. And I still think that Peterson woman is your cousin.
Well, we're basically family.
Yeah, at this point. Thanks, Judge. We'll see you soon.
Hi, is this La Casa? Hola, ¿es esta la casa? Esta. Can I make a reservation for 8 p.m.? Puedo hacer una reserva para las 8 de la tarde.
Suena genial. Sounds great. What is your name?
My name is Julia. Mi nombre es Julia.
Okay, I have no idea why that played.
It's like a skit. Is there something coming?
No, it's like...
Oh, Lord, here we go.
For Trump, for tu familia, Latinos for Donald Trump. Okay, yes, that was supposed to be the translation of the phone call of Javier Milei calling Donald Trump to congratulate him. For some reason, I got the wrong video there. I blame Tony Martinez. I'm going to yell at him, though. He'll be here in less than 5. We'll be right back to talk about the new freedom of the North and the South Americas on the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Be right back.
Haunted by high prices and big government? Don't be a ghost of your former self this Halloween. We've got shirts that'll keep the ghouls and the government off your back. Inflation's scarier than any haunted house. But hey, why not turn it into a costume? Or how about our spooky government shirt? Guaranteed to spook anyone who's afraid of too much power. But if you're feeling real edgy, nothing says Halloween like our Michael Myers No Lives Matter shirt. Cause when it comes to big government, we all get slashed. At 4libertyshop.com, we believe in freedom, not fear. So grab your libertarian Halloween gear before the government takes an extra bite out of your wallet. Or your candy. 4libertyshop.com. Let's make Halloween tax-free.
Hello, this is Barack Obama, and let me tell you why Austin Peterson stinks, and you should never pay attention to anything that he has to say. First of all, he's a libertarian, and we all know libertarians are idiots. They don't realize how important government is to everything that we do. I recently became aware that Austin has opened up a libertarian shop at apforlibertyshop.com. Now, I'm asking you as a personal favor to me that you never ever visit apforlibertyshop.com. With all of the great Liberty merchandise there, the last thing that we need to do is to get people spreading this message around the country, because then they might start thinking that they don't need government. And that's the last thing that good Democrats like us want. So if you love democracy, like me, and hate freedom, then don't visit AP for Liberty Shop. Like I said, whatever you do, do not visit apforlibertyshop.com. I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice.
It is better to settle these matters in the courts than on the streets, and new laws are needed at every level. But law alone cannot make men see right.
He spoke, as you know, with Trump. 11 minutes on the clock. They started talking. Javier told him, I'm very happy for you. For you, actually. I'm very happy for your victory. The United States is very happy with this. Argentina, too. What you already know. Ta, ta, ta. And the phrase that is what has to predict good times for us is the following. At one point, Javier tells him, he says, the truth is that I was very happy with everything that happened to you. Very. Especially because I felt identified in these times that you had to go through. Javier says to Trump, 11 minutes. Not 1 minute. 11:11. He made an important communication to me. 11 minutes of talking on the phone. He says, I felt identified with you. Javier says to him, because I also went through that of being more alone than Adam on Mother's Day. He says, then that makes your triumph greater. It makes everything you achieved more imposing, more important, and I congratulate you.
Good morning. Rise in freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. That was a little bit of the phone call between Donald Trump and Javier Milei. It's time for a new freedom, North and South. South America, that is. Joining us live on set, Camelia Peterson, my good friend. We are not related. Don't listen to the judge. Hi, CJ.
Good morning.
Glad to have you here. And thanks for being on set. We appreciate you very much.
Always fun.
Please do click that like button and subscribe to our channel. The Wake Up America show is absolutely killing it this morning. We just had monster sales, man. People are buying the Department of Government Efficiency merchandise. But you know what the number one seller has been in the shop lately? Huh? Guess what? Here it is. Hold on. The dark MAGA hats. Yes, the dark MAGA hats you can get at forlibertyshop.com. That's the number 4libertyshop.com. With this lighting, it looks like it's white, but it's actually silver. Mm-hmm. You can see the embroidery over there. It's embroidered, high quality, dark MAGA hats. Join the revolution. Get your DOGE hoodie and your dark MAGA hats at forlibertyshop.com. liberty.com. My next guest, he's for Liberty too. He's kind of the U.S. Latin American envoy officially for the show. And he also just happens to be U.S. Latin American envoy over on X.com. Good friend of the show, Tony. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Austin. Good morning, Camellia. How's everybody doing? Great.
Antonio.
Very interesting times. Yay, Antonio. Hey.
Tony, I guess we haven't spoken since the election. Your reaction to the election of Donald Trump before we get to the...
No, not surprised. It
Not surprised.
No, I actually made a bet on Kalshi and I won. I predicted not only that he would win the electoral college, but that he would win the popular vote.
Wow.
So, but I didn't. But it was a small bet. You know, it was only $100.
Well, do you own any Bitcoin, Tony?
No. Actually, I really gone into, because of everything going on. I really been going into more precious metals. I'm still worried. You know, we're not out of the woods by any means economically. The hard part is what's coming up. So, I mean, fasten your seatbelts. So we're in for rough times. The issue is who's going to guide us and lead us during those difficult times to get us out of there. It's just like what Javier Milei is doing in Argentina. He's finally got inflation under control. He stopped printing money and he stopped new borrowing. And he's renegotiating the debt that's already outstanding and paying it down. So fiscal discipline works, even though it's painful at the beginning.
Tony, we're going to talk a little bit about Javier Milei, and I want to get to that in a moment, your area of expertise. But before we do, any thoughts on the announcement of Donald Trump saying that we will now have an outside agency, the Department of Government Efficiency, headed by Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk, to cut $2 trillion in spending? Your reaction to that?
Oh, I can't wait for it, and I can't wait till we deal with bureaucratic morass, and I deal with it in my work as an attorney. I just had a decision handed back to me because on this stupid technicality, I have to now refile and it's like refile some papers. And meanwhile, this is a family that's like waiting to have some peace of mind. I like giving my clients peace of mind. And then another case where this is really ridiculous. Same exact form. Same exact language on the form, same exact page, only difference, bottom left-hand corner has 1 month, 2024. The other parts of the forms have another month, 2024. The government sends back, rejects the form. Same exact language, and it's these are the things that make people furious. What happened to common sense? What happened about making government work for the people? Whatever government we have needs to be working for the people, not making people's lives crazy.
Love it. We'd love to have you be a regular guest on the show and hang out with all of our awesome people like Camellia Peterson and Tony Martinez. So make sure you click the follow button on the stream. Tony, let's get to the good stuff, the meat. Let's talk about the Javier Milei, Donald Trump team up. It seems as if, and please, I try and ensure that I'm not confirming my own biases here, Tony. Tell me if you think that I'm wrong or maybe I'm exaggerating here. It feels as if there is a special connection between Javier Milei and Donald Trump versus other world leaders. Do you get that same impression?
Yes, I think there's a feeling that there's a strong empathy with one another, because in that 11-minute telephone call, congratulatory call that President-elect Trump took from Milei, there was this I know, congratulations, Donald, I know what you went through because, as he said, I was alone on Mother's Day,
lonelier than Adam on Mother's Day.
What a great comment. Yeah. I mean, Milei's an economist. He's a genius. So it's, I guess we shouldn't be blown away by that. But
he's going to win the Nobel Prize in economics. That's one of my when he got elected, because keep in mind.
No, those idiots would never give someone
It'll be because of his restoration and of the Argentine economy and renaissance that he's facilitating. He's setting into stage now. It can't be ignored.
They will. Watch them, Tony. Watch them, Tony. I'm going through our DMs here, by the way, and I see your beautiful grandchild. Congratulations, by the way. Amelia Isabella Martinez.
Yes.
She looks just like her grandpa.
Thanks.
I'm looking at
I can't wait to go see her. I'm headed to go visit the family. I'm spending a good week there with my son and daughter-in-law and Amelia for Thanksgiving. So I'm really looking forward to that.
I sent you a message. Speaking of the economy, I sent you a message last night. Argentina's monthly inflation drops to 2.7%, the lowest level in 3 years. And Milei has only been the president for 1 year.
Right. It'll be the 1 year anniversary next month. But I still remember vividly what a turning point for me, I guess, in my life and development is that. In August of August of last year, I was with Governor Bill Richardson. I was one of his foreign policy advisors in Latin America, and I went to Argentina right before the elections. And when I went to Buenos Aires, there was this Javier Milei, and I really connected with his message and his energy. And I said, this guy is on track. And there was so much excitement. And it was just a really transformational moment. He's been a transformational character since he's gotten into office. He's been getting rid of corruption. He's been reminding people of realities of life and economics and shutting down all of this craziness, wokeness that was literally destroying Argentina socially and economically.
Talk to us about the trade situation between Argentina and the United States, because from the rhetoric of the incoming Trump administration, it's we're going to put a tariff on you, we're going to put a tariff on them. But I mean, could we avoid that with Argentina? We don't want to create hostile relationships with Argentina. Go ahead.
I predict there's going to be a United States-Argentina free trade agreement. Get ready for that. And with a free trade agreement, there's no tariffs.
Right, but that's not what we really have been hearing. I mean, Trump is like the tariff king, right? But I mean, if we have friendly relationships with other nations, I would hope that Trump would say, well, but I mean, it's still all to them. It's about protecting American industry. He doesn't care about Argentina or China or Russia or anything like that. He cares about American industry. So I mean, my concern is that Trump's tariff positions might harm relations with Argentina.
Well, I think there'll be serious discussions in trying to find a trade balance. Everybody's looking for the trade surplus and scared to death of the trade deficit. Things have to come into balance. But I think if there's going to be a U.S.-Argentina trade agreement, probably a strategic agreement, because we need to strengthen the security in the Western Hemisphere. With that, unquestionably, we need to strengthen the economic security of the hemisphere and then the national security, because America's adversaries, the Chinese and the Russians, are they're sticking their nose everywhere they can, and they're also using commercial diplomacy to gain favor. So we really have to step up our game and compete with that.
What about Marco Rubio as Secretary of State pick and his relationship with South America? Any thoughts on that?
Well, he has the reputation as a neoconservative. It's going to be interesting how those neoconservative tendencies will be checked or managed by President Trump, because I'm sure that the Trump administration does not want to get into any more wars or situations. But at the same time, I don't think that we're not going to be standing for any more nonsense that has been going on. So Marco Rubio is extremely well qualified. I mean, with Latin America. He speaks fluent Spanish. He's Cuban American. He can relate to the history and the life experience of the Cuban Americans that predominate in the United States, although Cubans are all over the world that have had to leave. Cuba's lost more than like 30% of its population, something it's astounding. And it's really tragic. And when I would go to Havana, it's like almost everyone I know that lived on the island has left. Either they've gone to the United States or they've gone to Europe. They've gone somewhere because the situation is just untenable. So, but expect that there will, Rubio will be I think he'll be a very strong Secretary of State. And as long as President Trump keeps those neocon tendencies checked and managed, it can work out.
Any thoughts on this, Camellia?
I mean, I'm glad to hear the optimism. I mean, I think the phrase for a lot of this is cautiously optimistic, right?
Yeah.
I agree with you. I'm with you, Camellia. Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, me too. I'm very optimistic, but I'm not being cautious. I'm throwing it to the wind, baby. I'm optimistic.
Well, it's good. You've got to live your life. I'm an optimist too. You got to live your life. You know that the glass is half full, not half empty.
I noted this morning that the special prosecutor, Jack Smith, is looking at stepping down before the election. Speaking of lawyers, what do you think about all this lawfare about Donald Trump falling apart? It just goes to show it was all horse apples in the first place, wasn't it, Tony?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of ego and a lot of machination of the I'm trying to think of the best word for it. Just the way of the system, using the system, for really abusing it, not to do justice, but to abuse it. And it's all good news. I mean, why wouldn't Jack Smith resign? Because he's going to get fired if he stays in his position. So he knows his days are numbered. So yeah, do the smart thing and leave on your own. Not just be thrown out the door.
What happens to the conviction, though? And I mean, does that have to go to the Supreme Court now? I mean,
what you're talking about you mean in New York, the New York case?
Well, he got the conviction that happened in New York.
The federal cases,
the sentencing,
the federal cases are the sentencing. It's really going to be up to Judge Merchan. I'm very curious what he's going to do because he has a number of options. But I would put it. I'll make another prediction. Whoever's running for governor against Kathy Hochul, Sheriff, I think the Republican's going to say, one of the things I'll do if this hasn't been taken care of is I will pardon President Trump so that this goes away. Done.
Tony, you're a New Yorker. Were you surprised to see that we almost turned New York red?
No, I'm not surprised. Things are worse. Let's be honest. Despite whatever our leanings are, life requires us to be real and deal with reality. And things are worse. They're not better than they were 4 years ago. They're worse. And New York.
I see that your mayor, Eric Adams, is out there saying he's looking forward to work with the Trump administration. That's a sign of a desperate man.
Yeah, well, he is. He's overwhelmed. He's got problems of his own, legal problems of his own, where New York, there's just so many migrants, and I can't emphasize enough. If the audience should know that it is free to go and observe immigration court, and anybody can go, and many members of the public can watch an immigration court proceeding. You'll see the courts, the calendars, they're overwhelmed. We don't have enough judges. We don't have enough staff. We don't have enough of everything. I do believe that is strong that we're going to see this deportation and strong enforcement coming in. There's going to be some also realistic challenges. I don't see how we're going to deport 11 million people. It's just, you know.
Yeah, my fellow conservatives, well, I say my fellow conservatives, but my fellow Republicans get really mad at me when I say that.
Yeah,
Like,
well, you got to deal with reality. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want to live in reality, a lot of them, and they're all excited and they're euphoric over the Trump victory and stuff like that. But I mean, you know, they're like, well, we're going to go after the businesses and stuff. I'm like, the hell you are. No, you're not. Who do you think these business owners donate to, right? Like, where do you think that they take their money? So
it's
deport the violent criminals, deport the people, deport the Venezuelan gangs, go after all these things, because they're never going to get Emilio the gardener for Jimmy Kimmel as much as they might want to.
Right. Well, but those are what I would call low-hanging fruit, but it would cause there be political reverberations. I just think we need to get tougher on illegal immigration, and we need to make legal immigration easier. You know, when I'm referring to you about my frustration with the government, I'm talking about legal immigration proceedings. That this is maddening that you have this kind of bureaucratic morass. Totally unnecessary. And
well, but there should be some merit there too, right? In terms of immigration,
I
right?
said legal
immigration, merit-based.
Merit.
Like when they get a university diploma here, so even Trump said this, if you get a university diploma here and you're not a citizen, staple a green card to the diploma.
Yes, we need to get creative on that, just like we also need to think about.
That makes Trumpers mad, though. That makes Trumpers mad to hear that.
Okay, I also think we need to come up with alternative penalties to deportation, so that where you have somebody who's been here 20 years, and the only offense that they had is they didn't do their paperwork correctly, and they have a family and they have ties to the community, or they have a business now, and they employ people. You want to uproot that family and send them back? No, collect the penalty. I want something creative that I've heard from colleagues of mine. They said, you know, some of these people coming to the United States pay $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 to the coyotes to get the work. Like, why the hell should the cartels be getting the money? Let the U.S. government. You want to stay here, you're going to have to pay a significant financial penalty as an alternative to being sent back home. And we can use that money to improve the system overall, because I'm telling you, the legal immigration system does not have sufficient resources or manpower. And we need to fix that. It drives in an indirect way illegal immigration.
Right.
You know?
No, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
But we need more Elon Musks, and we need and we need to find a way to, if we bring people to this country, that they're contributing positively. Tony, it's been an exciting week, and there's so many things for us to discuss. Do you have any plans or anything that you're personally looking forward to in the coming years, or like, you know, any phone calls
from back to Argentina?
Yeah, any phone calls from Mar-a-Lago to put you in an ambassadorship role, perhaps, to Argentina?
Listen, I'm open. I would be honored to be the United States ambassador to Argentina.
Okay, well, make me your I'll be your envoy. You be the ambassador. How's that sound?
Oh, we'll have a very nice embassy party down there.
Nice, Tony. Where can we find out more about your work?
Okay. Well, I'm on X and Twitter as @USLATAM envoy, US Latam envoy. So that's where you can find me. And I'm an attorney and practice in the state of New York, New Jersey. And I suspect I'm also licensed in DC. So maybe I'll be back down there as well.
Great. All right, Tony, we'll have to invite you to our get together when we have the For Liberty Network meetup in DC. Then you and Camille and everybody, we can all hang out. Thank you, Tony.
Yes, I can finally meet Camille in person. And we talked about that.
There we go. Have a great day, Tony. Thank you for your input.
God bless. Take care.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Wow, good stuff. Camelia, final thoughts? A lot of big stuff.
So much. Before the election, there were so many good things happening that I was like, I'm afraid to hope.
I know.
But, as things started rolling out on election day and election night, and the next day I was like, I can't, it was surreal, right? I can't believe it. Now, there'll always be that skeptical side of me that is show me the money, show me the proof. Let's see the results. So we've got Congress, we've got the Senate, We have the executive branch. So let's get some stuff done.
You love it. Let's get some stuff done. It's time for us to think about what we can do to make our government more efficient. We can.
And I love Missouri, but if Elon Musk said, "Hey, do you want a job?" I'd be like, "Yes."
No! We can't lose Camellia. Can't let that happen. We appreciate everybody for tuning in and joining us live this morning on the Wake Up America show. Boy, the time sure flies, doesn't it? Yeah, it's been an absolute blast. You can support the Wake Up America show for free. I said free. That's right, dang it. Just click the like button and click the follow button if today is your first time watching the show. Come back and join us again tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, 7 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. That's the schedule. And we're right here at rumble.com/AP for Liberty. That's AP, the number 4, AP for Liberty. The For Liberty Network has 3 shows. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's me, Culturama, and Liberty Tonight. Check forlibertynetwork.com for the show schedule. Check out all the highlights. And of course, if you're as excited as I am about the Department of Government Efficiency, you need to go to forlibertyshop.com and get yourself some sweet Doge merch. Exclusively at forlibertyshop.com, you find the most beautiful logo for the Department of Government Efficiency. You can get your agent hoodie, your official field agent hoodie, with the logo that I created and made up, and that's better than Elon Musk's. So that's the thing. If you want efficiency, you need to hire the best. And I won't feel bad taking a job for Elon Musk or Vivek Ramaswamy because it's an outside agency. It's not government money.
That's right.
And then we can all celebrate the end of our jobs when the sesquicentennial 250-year anniversary, July 4th, 2026. God dang. We've got to live to see that day. Don't get in a car wreck or anything, okay, Camellia? Let's just
This is not a good day to die.
This is not a good day to die. Let's make it to July 4th, 2026. We'll say
Now
where
this
we
was
are.
morbid.
Yes. Share up. Head to forlibertyshop.com. Get yourself a Doge Field Agent hoodie. We've also got t-shirts, mouse pads, and we're going to turn it into a really beautiful collection today and put it on some more awesome merch that you can get exclusively at forlibertyshop.com. It's the Grift Shop. We be grifting, we be smoking, and we be drinking. In Jefferson City, Missouri, I'm with Camellia Peterson. Camellia?
And we're living like we're going to die tomorrow.
There you go. Let's do the most of the night like we're gonna die young. Da, 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 na, 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 na. All right, I'm not going to whip out my Kesha, guys. We'll see you here tomorrow on the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. Bye, guys. Hey, do the Trump dance.
I can't.
Do the Trump dance. Do it.
Okay.
Yes. Everybody do the Trump dance. Yeah. It's awesome. Like point. Yes.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
The trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
The conservative so-called is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
If I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors, what would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? So you can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
Is me, you, anyone that wants to be. There is no typical firefighter.
Do you hate the deep state? Do you reject the Antichrist in all his ways? Do you believe that aliens controlled LBJ to assassinate John F. Kennedy? Did you know that the shot can put chemicals in you that will make you more sensitive to 5G? Do you love America? Do you want more freedom? Do you like smoking hot red-headed libertarians? Then the AP for Liberty shop is for you! Check out all the awesome new merch and have a happy new year! Fight the deep state! Reject the Antichrist! Visit AP for Liberty shop and get your patriotic merchandise now, or the deep state wins!